Okay, this video is going to be short, sweet, and snappy, and it's about why. Why is it that you seem to be held at a higher standard than others? Let's talk about those others. It seems sometimes that there are people on the planet who don't have ascension symptoms. Are they not experiencing cosmic influxes? It seems that ignorance might really be bliss. It seems that there are people who get away with injustices and perpetrating such ill behavior towards others. Where's the consequence for them? Where's the karma for them? Where's the universe stepping in and remedying their actions? Why do we have that? And then you may look at your life and say, I feel like I'm being held to a higher standard. Because man, when those cosmic influxes come, my body is sensitive and it experiences them, perhaps. Or you might say, man, and this is me. I don't relate too much to the first one because I don't tend to feel the cosmic influxes so deeply. This is my one. Why is it that the moment I go slightly out of alignment, and I'm talking so slight that it's imperceptible, that the universe feels like it's coming down on me like a ton of bricks, that it feels like the consequences are instantaneous? Why am I being held to a higher standard when other people get away with unspeakables? Okay? It's because we're in one timeline right now. And in that one timeline, there are two channels, okay? Meaning there's kind of like two pathways. They're not separate yet, but imagine that there were a stream. And imagine within that stream, there was one very strong current pushing this way and one very strong current pushing that way. So that's what I'm talking about when I say one timeline, but we've got these two channels. The one is headed towards the fifth dimension. It's headed towards an outcome at the ascension point. So that means at the great solar flash, at that global ascension point, where the final split happens and that one timeline becomes two separate worlds entirely in two very literal separate places, separate physically. Right now, we're not separate physically at all. We still occupy the same planet. But the ascension point is the separation point of those two frequencies. The one stays here on planet Earth. I've spoken about this many times before. I will link the videos for you where I talk about how we go through ascension, because that's really exciting to understand more about, and what happens to the planet as well. But as that occurs, we go into a fifth dimensional embodiment whilst other people at the ascension point won't stay here on Earth to experience the new 5D frequency here on Earth. They will instead go into a new incarnation, another body, another name, another life, another memory. I've spoken about this in the two world split. That's the video to look for. And they go into a new fourth dimensional incarnation. They're not going to be held to the same standard that you are because they're not ascending to 5D. Because they've already made that soul choice, which is, I'm veering off. So I've got a couple of 100,000 maybe lifetimes before I get to that critical threshold that you might feel yourself standing at right now, where you are being held accountable and where you step slightly out of your authenticity. You step a little bit into whatever it is, pretense or judgment, or you find yourself getting cynical or resentful, but it's minuscule. You're going to experience such rapid, such sudden correction from your soul, from the universe. And what a gift that is. What a gift that means you're not going to get lost. What a gift that means you're being herded, shepherded, supported, guided into the fifth dimensional outcome. Those who are going off into 4D, they're not bad, they're not wrong, they're not worse. You're not better if you know that you are already intending for an ascension lifetime. It's simply choice. It's simply soul choice. But those people, there are a lot of darkness to still play with, but you don't. If you're headed towards ascension, you don't have that same leeway. So I don't want you to look at them and say, they got the better deal and it's unfair. I'm being mistreated here. You're being supported more than you could ever imagine. Do you want to watch the two world split? That's where I talk a little bit more about this. Go ahead and watch that video over here. Check the video description box for more. Join my online community where I can really take you deep into my teachings. From my heart all the way into yours, lots of love, everyone.